Storm Chaser here. Today we are doing a response to NWA Prepper for how to cook with your preps. This is a real simple recipe. He's also made comment about how he doesn't really know how to make pasta, so we're going to do a German pasta today called Spätzle. And I will have the recipe and all the information listed out down below the video, so just kind of check that out, maybe try it out yourself. So we've got a real simple recipe here. This is stuff that any of us should have if you're doing the homesteading prepping thing. I myself do not have chickens, but my neighbor does, along with several people in the mag. They also have chickens, so eggs are easy enough to get. So this recipe calls for 4 cups of flour, which I have in a bowl down here. I've got 8 eggs, 1 tablespoon of salt, and a 1/3 cup of milk. And you can do that with powdered milk. Mix up some powdered milk, make a 1/3 cup, or you could do it with water. I like the consistency and the flavor you get out of using milk, and so we're going to do that route. Now I'm going to tilt this down here so you don't have to worry about looking at my ugly mug, and you can look at the ingredients. So I have the flour here in the bowl, I've got the 8 eggs, I got the milk over here, I got the salt right here, which we'll have to measure out. And so we're going to go ahead and add the salt first. 1 tablespoon of salt, and we're done with that. And then I'm going to kind of mix that in a little bit. You can use your hands, you can use a whisk, whatever. Always clean your hands before you deal with food, by the way. You don't want to get yourself sick in a grid down situation when you can't go to the doctor. We're going to add the eggs. We're going to add the milk. We're going to get rid of the dirty dishes here. And then we mix it until it is smooth and bubbly. Alright, so after about 15 minutes of whipping and mixing and shuffling and doing all the stuff I had to do, I realized a few minutes into that I got the measurement wrong on the milk. It's actually 2/3 cup of milk, not 1/3 cup. After that, I got a nice creamy mixture here, a nice batter for our pasta. So now we're going to relocate over to the stove. Alright, so we've got our batter made. In a pot of boiling water, you're going to use a colander, or if you happen to have, which you probably don't, a Spätzle press maker, whatever you want to call it. If you have one of those, great, use it for this part. Now, we are going to pour some of our batter into the colander. And hopefully we got it runny enough that it'll drip through. See how it's starting to drip out a little bit? And it's starting to drip into the boiling water. Hasten this up a little bit and press it through. we got some started there. So now we're going to come over here, my wonderful camera work here. See how it's all starting to float up? It only takes 30 seconds to a couple minutes. Once it starts to float like this, it is done. From there, you will need to either pour it out into a colander, scoop it out, what have you. I have one of these. Spätzle is really wonderful. You get a good amount of carbohydrates, you get a good amount of protein, not just from the wheat, but also from the eggs. You get fat from the eggs as well. Set that aside. We're going to make a little bit more with what we got here. And of course, the batch here, the recipe that I've got, is meant to feed like a family of 5, so using my recipe, you're going to make a lot of Spätzle. But you don't want to put too much in the pot at once, or else you have an issue where raw dough is going to land on top of the floating dough, or floating noodles now, that's already in here. And you want to try and avoid that because you don't want to make anybody sick by serving them undercooked food. But it's like with this food here, all of the time and energy really goes into the making of the batter, or the dough, however you want to define it. Cook time is nothing. And it's not very resource intensive when it comes to preps. Like I said, it's only got 4 ingredients. And of course, if you want to add different seasonings to it, add parsley would be a good addition. Nutmeg would also be really good. Let me see here. I'm all sweating now because I've been standing over the boiling water, all the steam in my face. But thank you, NWA, for getting me back into my chef code here. And we'll catch you next time with an actual pasta video. Hopefully it'll be a little cooler. We just had a cold front come through, so it'll be a little bit cooler in the house and I won't sweat as much for you. So yeah, we'll do a pasta video and I will show you how to roll out pasta. It's a lot more labor intensive than this. But until then, this is Okie Storm Chaser signing off.